I can't believe 40 years has gone by. I was a young kid working at the Prudential Insurance Company, 213 Washington Street in the city of Newark, going with a marvelous looking guy, just having a good time. It was the age of innocence. Motown was kicking out hits one after another. The Beatles were the rage of the United States, the Fabulous Four. My childhood friend and I would head for AC, Atlantic City, on the weekends to have a good time. It was just a wonderful time to live. And then it happened. I went to work one day, went home, and the next day there were all kinds of bulletins on the three major networks, Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 7, about this riot that erupted rather suddenly in the city of Newark on Springfield Avenue. And the rumor mill suggested that a cab driver had been brutally beaten by the Newark police, and people came from all over to try and remedy or rectify this situation. Some people call them rioters, some people call them activists. We're dealing with semantics. All I know is that during that time, 3 days, whatever it was, in 1967, it was like hell itself had erupted from under the earth, and no one knew exactly what to do. And yes, I have to concede, people use that particular scenario to loot, to burn, to break into stores on Springfield Avenue and perhaps beyond the borders of Springfield. And you saw on television, you saw people carting off televisions and suits from major stores. And the bone of contention supposedly was that the merchants, the white merchants on Springfield Avenue, did not deal with the indigenous people in a fair and equitable manner, and so some of those people took matters into their own hands and they robbed. My answer to that is hogwash, poppycock. You don't use a bad situation to steal. And of course, I'm most upset because innocent people were killed. The Star-Ledger not long ago ran a almost a 2 or 3 page article regarding that particular time in Newark. And we know there was a woman who merely looked out the window, black woman who looked out the window on Springfield Avenue trying to protect her child, to move him from the window, and was shot and killed by, to this day, no one seems to know. But what bothered me with an equal amount of outrage was the fact that when I returned to work the next day or the following day, maybe 2 days later, I believe just about everything was shut down. Adonisio was mayor back then. We had not yet had our first African-American mayor. That came after, in the person of Ken Gibson. But what bothered me more than anything, I have to tell you, is that those people, those whites I worked with, and all of us used to get along. Many of them were transported from South Jersey, from the shore area and other parts of New Jersey. All of us met in Newark, and you know, we seemed, at least on the surface, to get along quite well with each other. We talked together, we laughed together, we went out to lunch together. And after the riots, when many African Americans returned to work with everybody else, these were some of the comments we heard. Well, I don't know what you people are trying to prove, and you're never going to get justice like that. And why don't you be like Martin Luther King Jr.? I was young, thankfully, and my mother and father taught me to be respectful, because many of these people who were talking and making comments to people like myself and some of my co-workers were much older than most of us. And so, in spite of the fact that we were livid, the temerity of some of these people to place that kind of thing at our feet, when we were just as enraged, just as ashamed of the looters as anybody else. Uh, Newark became a ghost town after that, especially Springfield Avenue. The merchants fled. Can't blame them because many of them were frightened. And it took a long time for Newark to come back. Are things better today? I would have to say yes, but that certainly is a black mark in the city. It's a black mark for it's a black mark against those who looted. It's also a black mark against some of the officers who were quite brutal to people who did not deserve it. And most of it all, it's a black mark against America itself, as we always have always moved forward to tell other countries how to live. I hope we have learned from that particular situation, and hopefully we will come together as civil people to iron out anything that is not right or unjust in the near future. Thank you.